Hello, you're listening to Let's Talk About It with Joyce Johnson. I am Joyce Johnson, author, speaker, sales champion coach, and founder of Wise Sales Network. Welcome to the show. Hey there, welcome back to Let's Talk About It with Joyce Johnson. Hashtag Author Life. We are killing the Author Life game right now, you guys. And you know it's because we have this amazing book this year, Color Outside the Lines, Extraordinary Stories of Leadership. I want you guys to meet the people that have contributed to this book. I want you to understand a little bit more about them so that you can embrace their story. And today we have the beautiful Miss Jasmine Waring with us. Jasmine, introduce yourself to the audience.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for having me, Joyce. I am Jasmine Waring, excited to be here. You'll learn more about me in my chapter, but I bring to you a whole long history of different types of roles in sales and sales leadership, where I've made turns and twists and roller coasters and have ridden a wave that has moved me to a place of flow and alignment and feeling good. So I'm hoping that you will join us on this journey and hear more about it in our chapters.
Oh, Jasmine, I love the flow and alignment. I need to run out of here and go to the Pilates class or yoga class. I love where she's taking us already. If you guys are really listening, right? If you're really listening to what this woman said, when the words flow and alignment is everything. So that just takes me into, how do you stay that centered? Because I'm hearing that you are centered, and I know that just doesn't happen overnight. How do you get there? Help us get there first.
It starts with recognizing the need for it and recognizing how important it is in your life and in your productivity, whether you're leading people, whether you're leading organizations, whether you're in sales, or you've got dogs that are rowdy.
Yes, even when you have the doggies, they're excited this morning.
They are excited and they bring something fun into my life, but sometimes they can be rowdy and we just have to move them over for a little while so that we can stay focused. And I was talking about like, how do I find alignment? I think the biggest thing is to understand the value of it in your life and not feel like you have to go and continue to do everything for everybody else, including making decisions. And once you get to a place where you realize how critically important it is to make decisions that benefit you and not feel bad about it, and make sure that they align with what's important to you, what feels good to you, what's important as far as long-term goals and values, you just move to a space where things feel good. And that's kind of what I call alignment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was speaking with a friend yesterday. She said, oh, I worry about you. So like, don't worry about me. I know. I said, I know it looks like I'm working all the time. And for most part, I am. It's crazy. But I told her, I said, but also on Saturday, I don't think I got off the couch. I think I remember falling asleep for about 5 hours, literally. I fell asleep on Saturday for about 5 hours. And then I woke up and I was thinking, I had all this stuff I wanted to do. I had places I wanted to go, but none of that happened because I didn't set an alarm to remind me. So obviously my body needed that rest. And I'm very good at listening to my body, right?
Yeah.
I've learned that throughout the years that I sometimes need to hone into my body and my mind and my spirit and what it's telling me.
Yeah.
And give it what it needs.
Exactly.
And give it what
and
it
that's
needs.
your alignment. Exactly. That's exactly it. You needed it. And that was what was best for you. And those things that you wanted to do, you'll probably do even better because you were in tune with what you needed.
Well, yeah, I need to do some shopping for our book launch this coming week, but I'll just have to pull something out of the closet that I already have and accessorize it. It's all good. When you wear black every day, it's kind of easy, right? Throw a scarf around it. I have lots of wraps and,
Exactly.
and as I say, keep the party going. With that said, share with the audience your topic for the book and why.
Sure. So my chapter is called It's Just Hair. And so for those of you all who have followed us along in this co-authoring journey, or who know me, you'll realize that I've had every kind of hairstyle you can imagine. Starting this journey, I had sister locks down my back and cut them into a bob, and now the big chop, which I'm loving and owning. And it speaks to just hair on the surface sounds like it's a book for women and it's about your hair, but what it really is about is a willingness to assess decisions in your life and a willingness to be bold enough to make the decisions that are right for you, or that you even want to explore. And if by chance it's not the right fit, a willingness to own that and to adjust accordingly. And so we go much deeper into it, but it's really that in its essence. So that's for the guys as well as the ladies.
Absolutely, and I can remember having some challenges, some hair challenges in my career in the last, 6 years or so, and
Sure.
going to my aunt and who's a hairstylist, and I was growing up like, oh my gosh, Aunt Mabel, my hair, da da da. And she just started cutting my hair off. She's like, oh, it's just hair. you know, and I'm one, you've said the word decisions quite a bit when we've been speaking. And I'm a person that always says, make a decision,
Yeah.
right? Just make a decision. And if it turns out that it's not the best decision or it doesn't take you on the path of that journey that you want, then you own that. Own
Yeah.
it quickly and make another decision,
Yeah.
right? And I think decision making is something that a lot of people put aside, and sometimes more than often in our careers, allow other people to make those decisions for us. And especially as women and women of color in our careers, we've got to be intentful about and really understand what it is we want.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and not just a title, but a role, what we want, how we want to impact the spaces that we're in,
Yes.
so that we can create great, warm, supporting, loving, motivating, challenging also spaces for other women and for other individuals. And so when you say, it's just hair, I'm also thinking too, it's just that you mean it's just a lot of things, right? Accept them for what they are and then find a path or a way to move past them and through them.
Exactly. It really is. It depends on the person. For some, it's a willingness to change industries. I work in a space that is about advancing careers of people who are in sales. And some of the people I speak with have been in the same industry for 10, 15, 20 years and are just afraid to ever consider something else. Even if they're in a space that's dying, they're just so stuck in the way that it's been because that's all they know, that they're willing to go down with it rather than spreading their wings and trying something new or moving to a space that makes better sense for them as it relates to their goals. And so absolutely, the hair is the analogy. It's a career space. It's a where to live. It's who to spend your time with. Like, my time is a gift, and I see it that way and I treat it that way. And so part of that also is a decision on how to spend that. And so, just like you said, lots of decisions.
Lots of decisions, and I think at this point in space in my life, is I left corporate myself a couple of years ago. I had been working on you guys have heard this story. If you guys just honing in
Yeah.
to Let's Talk About It, hashtag author life.
All right.
You guys heard my story, that I made a decision. It's still considered recent, right? It's been, 2.5 years or almost 2.5 years that I left corporate and decided to branch out on my own, right?
Mhm.
And so sometimes you have to make those decisions. I had a plan, right? I'm a planner, which is something to set. So I had a plan to leave corporate in 2022. Well, that's not to next year.
Right.
So why are we having this conversation today? But I think, as we say, life happens when we're planning, and like you said, the time is so valuable. And, something spoke to me and said, Joyce, the time is now. And you have to take advantage of that time in that space and that
Yeah.
dying industry that you speak of, and just being afraid. You and I both probably mentor a lot of women and a lot of young people, because you guys know the college students are still my favorite people in the world.
Yeah.
And just about not being afraid to move past those spaces. Share, if you don't mind, share a story with us, maybe when you maybe even for your, if it's happened with you or someone recently that you were coaching on making a decision to move forward in their journey, and what process did you have them take, or did you take in order to do that?
Yeah. Let me think about that. Someone that I was coaching on moving forward in their journey. I met someone that I was mentoring. I met her at a networking event, and she just reached out and wanted me to mentor her because she had been working in a space where she was she was a model and she was promoting an alcohol brand. And, she enjoyed that, but she wanted to move into a more, what she considered more corporate or more professional space. And so she really, really wanted to move into either medical devices or pharmaceuticals. And, she had to work through her own mental blocks, and I held her accountable to it, and I shined a light up to it, not for the purpose of showing her her weaknesses, but making sure that she could hear what she was saying to herself. Because I don't
Yeah,
spend a whole lot of time talking about what I can't do and what's wrong, and that's intentional, but
intentional.
yeah, but a lot of times people don't realize just how important the power of their words were, and so before even going further into the discussion of her helping her to move into pharmaceuticals or medical devices, it was about peeling back those layers of what she was telling herself, and the blocks that she was putting up that were not necessarily blocks. And so the coaching and the mentoring and helping her to move to make the decision really was about getting into her mind space, and not so much me, but for her to own what she was doing there, because that is such a
Absolutely.
powerful space. And so, we walked through that. And then, she trusted me. She recognized that I cared enough about her to go deeper than just, okay, what's the next professional move? Because that coaching and that process was personal for her and
Okay.
me. And I actually made the recommendation that she make a detour for the purpose of developing the skills that were necessary that I knew were beneficial in the space that she was looking to go. But because we took the time to develop that trust and that relationship, she was willing to do that. And she did that for a couple of years. I think she's been there in that space to get that developmental space for about 2.5 years. And I'm excited to say that she just recently got signed on with one of the medical device companies that we do some work with. So it's been a great
Awesome.
experience for her. It's a growth opportunity. I'm happy for her to help her make that change, but I'm also even happier than the career change is the personal growth in that
Absolutely.
mental space that comes as a result of it. Yeah.
That's powerful, Jasmine. Thank you for sharing that story, because that, as you say, that mind space is such an important space. And, I had a COVID breakup. I don't think I've shared this with my
Oh.
audience. They say they like your success and they love your pain. So you guys gonna learn a little bit about Joyce Johnson's pain today. I actually had a COVID breakup. And so for me, I was just like, this, my mind is spending too much time trying to process this, and relationships shouldn't be that difficult, right?
Yeah.
And so, I shared with a friend of mine. She was like, wow, I can't believe you said that. Like, but I said, you know what? I just decided to love him at a distance.
Yes.
You
And that sometimes is the most beautiful love.
And that sometimes is the most beautiful love,
Yeah.
and to me, that's what love is really about. It's not about what you need out of it all the time. It is, but it is not, if it's not working, love a person enough to let them go,
Yeah.
love
Love a
them
person
enough,
enough to let them go and love yourself
love
enough to
you,
let them
and
go.
love yourself enough to let them go,
Yeah.
right? And so I always have to make the best decisions for Joyce. And I think sometimes we just have to let go of things the way that we see them and the way that we want them, and really assess them for what they are,
Yeah.
embrace them for what they are. And sometimes that means letting go. It doesn't mean that that was a wrong, right? It just
Right.
means that it wasn't best for you.
Yeah.
And I
And
think as women, we have to learn that and let it go.
we absolutely do. It's so ironic. I had this conversation with some of my girlfriends yesterday, a three-way conversation. And that's what we were talking about because one of them went through a breakup. And I said, you know what? Enjoy the experience. Don't count it as whatever that decision was, that long hairstyle for per se, whatever that decision,
Yes,
aka relationship, just because you cut it later or just because it doesn't end in marriage until you die, doesn't mean that there wasn't a benefit to your life and that there wasn't some beautiful experiences there.
right.
And that's kind of that same process is enjoy the experience for what it is, but also know that sometimes things need to change and you got to be willing to make those changes for the alignment of your life and to be in the best space.
Yes, absolutely. You guys see me on my photos, I've changed my hair recently, right? And I try to go with a different hairstyle every 6 months, but it's But when I change, that hair for me is also, I'm changing my mind about something. And I'm changing my mindset. I'm changing, when you guys saw me in the twist, I was in that summer sexy mode, right? And, and right now, my hair says to you guys, I am so focused on my business game right now that it is ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And the hair says it, right? The hair actually says it. But yeah, sometimes ladies, I posted today this morning, because Jazz and I talked, this is going to come a little later when you guys hear it, but we're speaking, and just to set the purpose, you guys, it's a Monday morning, first thing. We're on here first thing Monday morning.
Yeah.
And I post today, it says, be the best you, right? Be
Yeah.
the best you. And and your title, you're speaking about hair, but it's really about being the best you and making decision to be the best you. I mentor a lot of young people, and I put this in here today on my social, because I volunteered last week, and it just says, often when I'm coaching young people, especially my young family members, they say, oh, I'm not you. And it's like, no, you're not. And I don't want your journey to be my journey to be your journey. But what I do want is for you to be the best you.
Absolutely. And you're sharing, Joyce. I'm going to share too. I didn't plan to share all of this, but since we're sharing, I too have gone through a COVID breakup. And this process with the hair and the changes for me, y'all know when women change their hair, like for you, it's about your focus. For me, it's about no longer hiding behind what people think it should be. No longer letting somebody else's voice overshadow what it is for me and in my life. And this big chop is, you see me loud and clear in all of my glory, and so
I
it's absolutely a physical representation of those changes, and a willingness to own it and be authentic in your space. And so my chapter leans professional, but it goes back to childhood and lessons from my mom, lessons from my grandmother, to be willing to own those decisions and that alignment. When you're in a space of flow, your career takes off, your life takes off, you start to glow a little bit more,
Yes.
And it's just really something, just like with you and your mentoring. When you move yourself to that space, the people around you start to feel that and benefit as well. And so I'm hoping that y'all see that and feel that and get that when you read it, but just know that it goes deeper than what you see on the surface always.
It always goes deeper, and you said that. And the first thing I said to you when we popped on this Zoom today was, I see all of you.
Yeah, you did.
And I'm getting chills now. Not to get emotional, team, but group, but I see all of you, Jazz. I
Yeah.
see all of you. Your light has always shined, but your light is shining so bright right now, woman.
Oh,
God is coming through your space and your spirit. And sometimes when those things happen in life is so that we can continue to serve the masses and to meet the needs of the masses. Because a lot of times, whether we want to mentor or not, whether we want to be seen as mentors or own and represent that, we do. It's just, we do. Some of us, as they say, to whom much is given,
much is required. Yeah.
you finishing my words, girl. Yes, you are shining. I see it. I see your light, and continue to let your light shine, because our young women, I tell people all the time, the kids in my family, they don't listen to me, right? They're so old for me. When they see me coming, they like go into the other room. They're like, they are not having it. They are not having it. So I always agree with everyone. I'm going to feed into yours, and I appreciate if you feed into mine.
Fair enough. And sometimes that's how it has to happen, for them to hear it and receive it, which is all good because it's a village,
Right? It takes a village. So what made you decide to share your story? We also all have a reason for coming into this hashtag author life.
Yeah.
What intrigued you about the author life, and what made you decide it was time to share?
You know, it's something that I always wanted to share because, we're all just living our daily lives and don't really know the impact that it has on other people. But people have come to me and asked about, how do I find the boldness to be willing to make the changes that I've made in my life? Where did this come from? The whole idea of living in alignment, and why have I chosen not to do certain things that other people have slated me for and still find a way to be successful. And so I've had similar questions come up over the course of years from different angles, different industries, different types of people. And I said, you know what? It's time to share it. And so it was a perfect opportunity when you reached out and spoke to us about it. And I said, you know what? There's never going to be the perfect time, but opportunity is different. And I saw that and said, you know what? It's time to share it and share it on a larger scale than I can in one-on-one conversations.
Absolutely. And that's why I became an author, so that I could, I've done the mentoring one-on-one. And I actually had a college student here. Well, he's not a college student right now. He is a 35-year-old man. He was my intern for one of my first businesses. And when I lived in Miami, and he was an intern for me. And so he was here in Houston on business and he stayed at my house. So, you know what, you're going to be so busy that we're not going to see each other. Don't let anybody talk if you stay here. So he stayed in my guest room, my house, and we just had the best conversations because in between him meeting with his customers, he was like, well, I did what you said, and he was quoting me and all the things that I taught him on sales. And
Mhm.
so I wanted to be able to reach the masses with my
Yeah.
mentoring. I wanted to be able to reach more college students and tell them about the great life and opportunity that they could have in the sales profession. I wanted to reach them and say, you can live anywhere for 2 years. Go do it. Don't limit yourself. Try
Right.
it. Jump, right? I wanted to tell all of them, get up, show up, follow up, just all of
Yeah.
my, you know, smile while you're dialing because people
Right.
can people can hear your smile. He said that to me. He said, I was upstairs making my calls and I was just smiling because he said, you always said smile while you dial. And I was just like, my heart was full. But this, when you do publish, you will be surprised because I don't have too many conversations where that doesn't come up that I'm an author. And
Wow.
it's a great way to be able to share your story. And you will be surprised, if you think that that's why I share with all the authors, get your landing page, start your premos, do the autograph copies of your book and send it out to people. You'll be surprised how many people will read your book and then they'll come back to you and buy it for other people and say, oh, I so and so needed to hear this, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna
And
do that.
so congratulations on
Thank
that,
you.
on that decision. Thank you for sharing your story. Tell our audience how they can connect with you.
You can connect with me on LinkedIn, Jasmine Waring or Jasmine Sims Waring, on LinkedIn. You can also connect with me on Facebook, Jasmine Sims Waring, and I don't know about Instagram. I'll hold off on that.
Yeah, I have the team go and do the Instagram most of the time, and I really, want to do. Matter of fact, lately I'm just too exhausted to do any social. But I had on my heart today to post to be the best you, right?
Sure.
And that's just because, as I said, I've been having some conversations with young people in my family, and my niece and I had kind of like a chat that turned like really south, and it was just like, oh, it's hard, and I'm not you, and it's like, don't strive to be me, strive to
Yeah,
be
be
the
the best
best you,
you, right?
be the best you. I just want you to be the best you. I want for
Yeah.
all of you to be the best you. Anyone listening to this, be the best you. Whatever those obstacles you think are in your place, write them down. Write them down, then scratch through them. When you scratch through it, burn it up, chalk it. Like my big mama used to say, take it to the altar and leave it. Work on being the best you and make decisions daily. Be intentful in your decisions daily to move you into that space. With
Yeah.
that said, I'm going to stop talking. You've been listening to Let's Talk About It with Joyce Johnson, hashtag author life. I appreciate you guys joining and following the podcast. Make it a great day.